What if I told you a tracking dog doesn't need a single drop of blood to find your deer? Sounds impossible, right? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how these incredible dogs can recover game even without a blood trail. So stick around, because this could change the way you hunt forever. All right, so my buddy called me at 7 o'clock this morning. He's got a deer down. Can't find his arrow and can't find the deer, so King and I are going to come out here and we're going to find it. We're going to find something. It's going to be a good day. Thanks for tagging along. I believe there's a common misconception that blood is necessary for a tracking dog to be able to recover game. In today's video, we're going to try to debunk this, and I'm going to explain to you why it is a misconception. We're also going to be talking about the importance as a hunter that we have a responsibility ethically to do everything that we can to recover an animal. I think for people to have a better understanding, it might be easier just to kind of give you an example of how a dog's nose works differently than ours. So you get home from work and you can smell your wife's made your favorite dinner, and let's just say it's chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and some dinner rolls. When you walk in the house, you know that aroma and you smell it good. Now, here's the difference between the way our noses work and a dog's noses work. A dog can walk into that same house. It's going to smell the eggs. It's going to smell the flour. It's going to smell the beef. It's going to smell the grease that the dinner was made in. It's going to smell the potatoes. Potentially even smell some of the dirt that was washed off of the potatoes. And so on. Their noses are so much different than ours that they can break down the different ingredients, the salt, the pepper. Hopefully this will help you understand how a dog's nose works. So in other words, when you're using a tracking dog, he has the ability to follow hoof prints. He can smell the deer's body scent. He's also looking for disturbed vegetation, and the combination of all these things make it really easy for him to follow a trail. We're going to go over a couple of examples of where a blood trail may be absent. And if you guys have hunted very long, you know that every now and again, that's just part of the game. You end up losing the blood trail. It could be from maybe a high hit, maybe it was a little bit higher than you wanted, and we don't have the blood trail. It could also potentially be a muscle wound, and or I've actually seen where deer have been shot and rolled around and ended up clogging up the wound with mud and dirt, and when it took off running, it didn't leave a trail. There's several scenarios where this can happen. As you can see in the background, we're actually working with King right now. A couple of the questions that you may be asked if you end up hiring a tracking dog is, number one, he or she is going to want to know the last place that you've seen the deer. Typically, a dog can get right on that trail, and if you watch King in the background, he's actually kind of circling around. He's going to get on that trail, and we're going to head east, which is where the deer went. The hunter in this situation told me that when it got over here to the edge of this taller grass, that the deer stood broadside for what seemed like a minute or so. In this same area, you can see King will actually stop, and he can pick this scent up because the deer stood there for long enough that the scent was much stronger there. And then from there, the deer actually went straight east and went over into another property, which we were able to get permission to go ahead and continue tracking. As we continue tracking this deer in the background, I want to go over a couple of things that can help hunters improve their chances of recovery. If you're tracking and you run out of a blood trail and you decide that you are going to call a dog, the number one thing that you want to do at that particular moment is just go ahead and stop, pull out, go back to your truck, warm up, mark the last place that you've seen or the last location that you've seen your deer or your last location that you lost blood. But the best thing you could do is pull out of there. The more scent that you get in that area is just going to make it a little more difficult for the recovery dog and the tracking handler when they get there. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cover a few ways to contact a tracking dog handler in your area. Most states require that the game ranger be notified or something to that effect. If that is the case, generally the game rangers in your area are going to know who have the tracking dogs and the best ones, because they're going to be used to those handlers calling them, and they're going to have their phone number, and that would be a great way to find a tracking dog. And if not, do like a gentleman did this last year when I was at deer camp. He came up and asked me if I had a tracking dog because he seen my dog at camp. If you're out of public land, you may be able to just ask somebody that's already camping near you at that same public area, and they may have a list of people to call as well. I just want to reiterate that, number one, that a dog does not need blood. It's not always necessary for a tracking dog to recover a deer. So don't be discouraged if you run out of blood. Ethically, I believe we have a responsibility to do everything in our power to recover an animal. I want to encourage anybody, if you're in this situation where you've lost a blood trail, ethically, we need to think about calling a dog. Now, I'm not making this video because I want you to call me, because most people don't even know that I have a dog that will track. I don't advertise, and nobody knows that I've got one. So I'm not saying this so that you'll hire me. I'm saying this so that you'll have a better understanding what we as hunters have to do, not only ethically, but I also want to try to help people understand a dog doesn't need blood to track. So if you run out of blood, don't feel bad for calling. The handlers in your area are going to be used to that. They understand that. And that's typically when they get the calls anyways. Now, in this particular tracking, after we crossed the first fence, we did go back to where the deer was standing, and I had my dog rework that area, and we were able to locate the arrow. And this is where it comes in fun, because we didn't waste much time on this. But when the hunter told me that the deer stood there broadside at the edge of that field/fence area, I got to thinking we may have a miss on our hands. But again, we couldn't find the arrow. I went back, and King started working the area. We were able to find the arrow. So this actually worked out perfectly. I'd rather be tracking a clean miss than an injured animal. As a hunter, we all know that a clean miss is 100 times better than a bad shot. While we're talking about bad shots real quick, I do want to say this. Throughout the season, we need to be shooting. I know that a lot of people that are using different, whether it be a crossbow, compound bow, or whatever else, we get everything set and we know everything's on. But between getting in and out of our vehicles, you could bump a sight, anything can happen. Just remember, especially if you're going to be camping like we do, where you're going to be gone for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, take a target with you. Keep testing your equipment and make sure that something hadn't been bumped or knocked out of whack, something like that. That will also help you avoid bad shots. Again, guys, I hope that this video's been helpful. I'm not trying to advertise my dog because we are not for hire, but I just want to try to help the general public understand. If you feel that there's any information in this video that is useful, please consider sharing this with anybody you know, whether they bow hunt or gun hunt. I've seen just as many deer lost with rifles as any other. So, again, you don't have to be a bow hunter to need a tracking dog. If you found any of this information useful, please consider sharing this with your friends, maybe some other guys you know that hunt. From time to time, things happen, and that's one of the things that I wanted to make this video for, is to be encouraging to others and encourage them, hey, you're not done. If you have the opportunity or an option to hire a guy that has a dog, look into that, and it might actually help you fill your tag instead of throwing away the tag knowing that you've injured something and you're doing the ethical thing and saying your tag was filled even though you didn't find it. Again, guys, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. Please consider sharing this video with your friends. I hope you all have a blessed week, and let's get outside and make something happen. Well, do me a favor, go get in your truck, warm up, quit stomping around over there. You know the last place that you've seen the deer. Give me roughly, it'll take me 20 minutes to get my boots changed and make it over there to that property you're hunting. And I'll bring my dog and we'll find it.